Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of AKP Sports Talk. As always, I'm Ari here at Korea. We're in the middle of live sweating this Nerfy in the Tigers Rangers game, middle of the first right now. So we'll stay tuned on that, but we'll get into a quick recap of what we were on yesterday. Korea Giants comeback for you. First 5 overs don't hit. What did you take away from your 3 plays yesterday?
Yeah, you know what? We look at the Rockies and Phillies. The runs didn't come. I knew it was a bad read. I was kind of shaking. Part of me was like, I love this play just because I thought the offenses were going to show up. But I was a day early, so I do like both of these offenses kind of show up today. I was just a day early. The Rockies, their offense didn't really get anything going against Nola. Then same for the Phillies. The Phillies offense is always up and down. You never really know if they're going to be consistent. So, that was just a tough one. And obviously, their offenses didn't really do anything until the back half, like I said. So, but just how the game goes sometimes. And then for the Braves and Astros, pretty much the same thing. The Braves scored, I think, 4 or 5 runs in that top of the 9th inning, kind of going for that over. So, like I said, they scored all of them in the latter half, none of them in the first half. So it was just tough. But I will say though, I am definitely taking that over again, maybe the full game, but we'll get into that a little bit. But a 1-2 day, at the beginning of series for baseball, it's kind of tough to get a good read after day one. So we're definitely not going to be beating ourselves too much over it. I will say the Giants money line was definitely the bright spot of the day. Obviously, them making that comeback. We talked about the Miami Marlins bullpen always being a little inconsistent on the season, so that was nice to see their inconsistencies continued throughout this game. So 1-2 day, I'm not really beating myself to it. Just a couple bad reads, and then obviously Giants money line, great comeback there. Ari, I know the Giants won, but the Brewers, how did they do yesterday?
Yeah, 1-1 day for me. Giants fell behind early, but we talked about the Marlins bullpen, and that's when they came up. When they came back against late. And the Brewers, it was the other way around. The Giants fell behind early and came back late. Brewers went up early and then fell behind late. So yeah, 1-1 day, and we moved to today.
Yeah, like you said, Brewers, they didn't really have anything to finish the game. They started out hot with up 3-0, and then obviously the Padres offense woke up 1-7-3. So that was a tough look for you. But as you mentioned, the Giants obviously got the big win. So 1-1 day, can't beat yourself too much over it. Obviously today we have some best bets for you. Obviously we got some MLB today. Obviously the beginning of the NBA playoffs, the play-in kicks off tonight with some couple games in the West. But here are my best bets for today. I'm just going straight to baseball, of course. I will have some basketball plays later on Twitter for you, so peep that as well as I dabble in the postseason for the NBA. But sticking with baseball, here are my 3 favorite that I'm giving out. First, we're going to go back to the scene of the crime yesterday. We're going to take this Braves-Astros game, full game, over 9. I believe that's about -125. Sorry, I just saw that K. Beautiful. We are 1 out away from this Nerfy, people. We are 1 out away. That's beautiful. We love to see it. But I'm taking this Braves-Astros game. I'm taking the over 9 here. I'm taking the bats here to really show up. The Astros bats, they had many chances throughout that game yesterday to really get things going, but they didn't really have, the flourishing offense that they were hoping for. This Houston team is facing Ronaldo Lopez, a familiar face, as he was on Chicago and the White Sox before. And they've had pretty decent splits against him. And I believe that this Astros team that, has always, been so close, or in terms of their offense, they go on a streak of 3 or 4 games where they score 5+ runs, and then they have a game like yesterday where they can't really do anything. And so I'm just taking this game to go over 9. I'm expecting the Astros to strike early here. I was going to target the first 5 again, but I'm just thinking this game's going to go over 9 for that push potential. I do like it at 9.5 if it is going up there, but I'm taking the 9 for that push potential. I do think this game is going to be pretty high scoring. The Astros bats are definitely going to show up. And then obviously on the other side for the Braves, we always talk about how, their top 4 is one of the best, and they showed up when it really mattered. They put up 4 or 5 runs, I believe, like I said earlier, in the top of the 9th inning, and I expect them to kind of strike again. They're always going to be, the one of the most dangerous lineups in the National League. So I expect both of these teams to really produce some runs today. So I like that total over 9 between the Braves and the Astros. And then I'm going to a homer pick here, but it's definitely the right play here. I don't care how juiced it is because I haven't even looked at it right now, but I'm taking the Mariners first 5 here, just sticking with them on the money line. If it is super juiced, I will take them minus half a run here. But I'm confident that the Mariners get out to a lead, especially after last night. We talked about how the Mariners bats have been one of the key things that's been kind of holding them back lackluster all season. Not really being consistent, but obviously it was nice to see last night. The bats really came to flourish and, they really striked when it really mattered yesterday against Frankie Montas. And now they face Hunter Green today, who's a pretty obviously dominant fastball pitcher, and the Mariners love to hit the fastball. They can't hit anything else if it's any off-speed pitches. So I expect this Mariners lineup to really kind of get early, attack Hunter Green early. Oh, that's beautiful. We love a nerfy. Woohoo! There we go. 6 outs, people. I'm sorry, I had to interrupt, but 6 outs, people. We love to see it. Oh, we absolutely love to see it. We will be back with these nerfy streams. We'll be doing a lot more of these once we have a lot more. Potentially, if there's some more day games during the week, like a Tuesday or Wednesday throughout the week, and there's a nerfy we like, we're going to be doing a lot more of these. So tune into those. Rody, what I know on nerfies, Ari. We're going to be going, hopefully, maybe 2-0 soon, but that's maybe another nerfy for another time. But going back to the Mariners' first 5, I'm taking the better team at home here. Logan Gilbert's on the mound for the Mariners. Even though he doesn't have the most greatest splits, against this Reds team, that was the last year, and that was at a Great American Ballpark, and we know how much of a hitter-friendly ballpark Great American Ballpark is. And I expect, the Mariners, obviously, Logan Gilbert back at home. It's a pitcher-friendly ballpark. I expect him to really, go do what he does best and just cook through the first 5. So I'm taking the Mariners first 5 money line here. I will also lean to the Mariners first 5 minus half a run, depending on what the juice is for the Mariners first 5 money line. But I'm just taking the better team, to just win through the first 5. I know the Reds kind of made a little bit of a comeback yesterday, but that was obviously halted with the Mariners offense once again. I don't know if that Mariners offense continues through this game, but I do think that they're going to attack Hunter Green early. So I do like the Mariners first 5 money line. And then to the final game here, just the exact opposite play of yesterday, which did cast for me. I was targeting the Blue Jays Yankees first 5 under yesterday, but today I'm targeting the over 4.5 through the first 5. And why we look at the pitching matchup for the Yankees today, it's Carlos Rodon. And, Carlos Rodon, he has not been that same ace that we've seen before. He has struggled a lot in the past, especially in these past couple of years as a Yankee, and Toronto loves hitting him. They're hitting about maybe 270, 280 off of him. Pretty good splits against him. That's not what you want to see if you are if you're the Yankees right now. Obviously, I expect the Blue Jays. Obviously, we talked about how low scoring of a game this was. This was a 3-1 ball game for both teams last night. Both offenses didn't really get themselves going. So I kind of expect both offenses to really kind of make their presence known. I believe for the Blue Jays, I think Kikuchi's on the mound for them today, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe the Yankees do have some good splits against him. And I know the Yankees can hit lefties pretty well. Obviously the big thing about the Yankees is who you're going to pitch to. If you're going to pitch to Judge, you're going to have to walk Soto. And then if you're going to walk Soto, you're going to have to pitch to Judge. And, that's the thing with this Yankees lineup. I expect them to kind of attack early. Yesterday they only had that 1 run against Chris Bassett, but that was because Chris Bassett, he does have those good numbers at home. But Kikuchi, he has struggled at home a little bit. And Rodon, we know he has struggled on the road many, many times, especially as a member of the Yankees. So I'm just taking this game to go over 4.5 through the first 5. I think it's going to be a really high-scoring game between two offenses that didn't really get themselves going. One of the offenses, the Blue Jays, have been really historically struggling. The Yankees have, had one of the better starts to their season. So I'm just taking this first 5 over 4.5. Those are my 3 plays today, Ari. Braves and Astros over the 9. I'm expecting both offenses to kind of, keep rolling, especially for the Braves, keep rolling. The Mariners first 5, taking the better team for the first half. For the first 5 innings, I also said I will potentially be taking them first 5 minus half a run. And then the Yankees and Blue Jays first 5 over 4.5. The opposite play I had yesterday, just, better pitching matchup for these hitters, Rodon versus Kikuchi. They obviously both teams know each other, and obviously, on the road for the Yankees, not what they were hoping for. So I'm just going to be taking first 5 over 4.5. That's what I'm taking here. Ari, what have you taken today?
Yeah, 3 plays for me, 1 each playing game, and then 1 MLB play. First off, the first playing game, Lakers over the Pelicans. Obviously, it's for the 7 seed. There's talk of the Lakers not wanting to win this game because they have to play Denver in the first round. But then, even if they if they were to purposely lose, quote unquote, then there's no guarantee that they win the next game against the winner of the Warriors Kings game. So I think the LeBron doesn't want to have to play another game to get into the playoffs. Obviously, he's probable. Davis is questionable. Obviously, I'm assuming they both play in this environment. They've both been on the injury report, all season long. So I assume that they're both going to play. Davis is a little bit banged up, but obviously the Lakers crushed them in the last game of the season on Sunday. It was kind of a weird game because the Pelicans didn't play Valanciunas at all, all game. He played 10 minutes, I think. So I don't know what their game plan is. If that was just to try to trick the Lakers or something, because I know they're going to play them, in the next game. But I'm just going with, just backing LeBron and Anthony Davis, in this game for the 7th seed. The Lions moved slightly in the favor of the Pelicans from 1 to 1.5, but nothing major, just a half point. So I'm taking the Lakers straight up in the first game, and then the second game, I think the Warriors win, but they've had some weird blown leads in the second half this year that I'm just taking them in the first half to cover 1.5, just to be a little bit safer. But I do think the Warriors do win outright the whole game. Obviously, it's a rematch of the series from last year in the first time where the Warriors won 7 over the Kings. A lot of recent kind of, not bad blood, I guess kind of bad blood with Draymond Green and Sabonis, I guess you could say. Kind of a rivalry in California between these two teams the last year or two. Obviously, both the teams are super inconsistent all year. But, just backing Curry, Clay, Draymond, Podzemski, Kuminga, the Warriors, backing them in the first half to win by 2+ at halftime tonight. But again, I do think that they win. They win the game. They're 2.5 full game. Probably lean that way as well. But it's taking them first half just because of how shaky they've been at times, kind of blowing leads late in games. But the Kings have also kind of been that same way as well. So taking the Warriors first half. And then my one MLB play is the Red Sox. Garrett Whitlock against Tanner Bybee. Bybee got kind of rocked by the White Sox in his last start. Whitlock's had 3 really kind of strong starts so far. He hasn't gotten super far into games, only 5 innings in 2 of them, and then I think 4 1/3 in the third start. But just backing the Red Sox at home. Red Sox bats at home against Bybee, who struggled in his last start against the White Sox, and just kind of continuing to ride the momentum with the Red Sox here, at home.
Yeah, obviously you've have a lot more analysis on the playing games. Obviously, as a fan, you can obviously tell what jersey I'm wearing, so you know who I'm rooting for today. But going to the first game, you mentioned this whole narrative that LeBron doesn't want to play the Nuggets. I think that's kind of BS as well. You mentioned potentially having to play the winner of this game. Is not an easy task as well. What if it's a home game for the Lakers? So I think them winning this game is bigger motivation to kind of have to face or to avoid, either a really hungry Warriors team or a hungry Kings team that, wants to, get back to the postseason after just making it for the first time in forever. And then obviously you mentioned the Warriors first half money line, sticking with that play, both teams obviously kind of synonymous for blowing leads, recently. So it's going to be the battle of the blown leads. I don't know which team is going to do it first, but it's definitely going to be funny to see. But I do like your play there.
I realized it was first half spread, not money line.
I was about to say, I think you meant to do first half -1.5, but yeah. I mean, at the same time, that is basically the money line for some people. 1.5 money line, almost the same thing. So, I mean, Warriors first half, you're just basically taking them to win by 2. Definitely a great play there. I definitely like what you're looking at there. Especially with both teams pretty much being synonymous for blowing leads, and you mentioned these two teams meeting up last year. This is ironically the exact same situation that the Kings were just in 1 year ago. Game 7, in fact, but they're not a 7-game series. This is just the one and only Game 7 for them. So, ironically, the same situation facing Steph Curry and the veteran Warriors, coming into town to try to get one more run in them. But, I definitely like your vision there, just taking the first half, just taking the better team for that first half. And then you mentioned the Lakers as well. Then the Red Sox I was looking at as well. I will say the bigger question is just kind of the health Potentially, obviously, we saw that big collision in the outfield between Devers and Tyler O'Neill. O'Neill with the stitches. I think they should be fine. But other than that, obviously, you mentioned Tanner Bybee. He had a pretty, all right start against the White Sox. But I mean, it's the White Sox, for God's sakes. And then the Red Sox, obviously, that was a weird game yesterday. If you did see it, the Red Sox didn't really, have that much offense really going. And then obviously with all those errors and, the collision in the outfield, the Guardians kind of just capitalized on those errors. So, the Guardians, you can kind of say almost kind of got lucky in a little bit of an aspect with those errors. If that ball was caught, you never know what happens. But, at the same time, the same thing, the Guardians were also making some pretty good contact. Obviously, we saw Jose Ramirez almost have that home run in the first inning that almost had I swear, that's the second time I've had Jose Ramirez in a year fee, and we've been this close to having the year fee cash for him. But anyways, I do like the Red Sox today and a good bounce back spot at home. I was targeting Garrett Whitlock, obviously the better pitcher at home here. He has some pretty good splits against this Guardians team. And after a weird funky game yesterday, I do like that vision for you, the Red Sox money line. So I do like that play for you. Then obviously your two plays in both playing games tonight with the Lakers just straight up on the money line. You're just taking the more motivated team, in my opinion. Obviously, you mentioned the bigger question is AD's health, and right now he is questionable. But we are presumably thinking that he is probably going to play tonight with their potential. Well, season's not on the line tonight, but obviously a spot for the playoffs is on the line tonight. So obviously a big game for them, motivation on the line for them, and then. The Warriors, you mentioned, with their second half issues in terms of keeping a lead, just taking them through the first half, definitely a good play for you. So those are Ari's 3 plays, my 3 plays as well, just taking all MLB. You can find all of these plays on our Twitter below, AKP Sports Talk. That is where you can find our cards as long as this video will be posted, obviously. But that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for the live. That is Ari. I'm Kriya. We'll be back tomorrow with some more best bets, obviously, and some more playing. Obviously, we have the East tomorrow between the Sixers and the Heat, along with the Bulls and Hawks. We're going to have our best bets for the play-in for the East, along with some more MLB tomorrow. But that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us along. And if you guys were tuning in for the Nerfy a little bit, thank you guys so much. We wanted to try it out for a little bit. We're going to be doing a lot more of these Nerfy live streams, as throughout the baseball season continues, in these midday baseball games, midweek, where it's like a Wednesday and it's like a 10-10 start for the West Coast or 1 p.m. for the East Coast. We want to, try to maybe get a little bit of a Nerfy action sometimes if we like it or not. So we're going to be doing a lot more of these. So tune into those. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow.